The story opens with a sharp hook, pulling the audience right into the conflict before anything else. The line sets the tone. A powerful HOA president tries to stop a new black homeowner by calling the police, but the moment flips when one unexpected piece of identification shuts her down in front of everyone. From there, the scene slows to let the audience take in the setting. It's a quiet cul-de-sac with neat lawns, rows of stucco houses, and a feeling of order that hides the tension waiting to break out. Into the space arrives the protagonist, a black woman in her mid-30s. She steps out of a moving truck with a sense of pride and calm, not just because she's unpacking boxes, but because this house represents everything she's worked for: stability, independence, and a place where she can finally breathe after years of sacrifice. Her backstory slips in gently. She's a military veteran, with 15 years of service behind her, someone trained to stay composed under pressure. She's excited and hopeful, even a little relieved, as she looks at the home she bought with her own hard-earned money. But that peace doesn't last long. The first box is barely touched before trouble comes striding across the street. An older white woman, neatly dressed, chin high, walking fast like she owns the entire neighborhood, cuts across the pavement. She is the HOA president, a woman used to being in control, her authority written in the way she carries herself. Without even introducing herself, she calls out in a sharp voice that carries across the street, "Excuse me, what are you doing here?" The question isn't curious, it's suspicious, heavy with the assumption that this newcomer doesn't belong. The veteran tightens her grip on the box but doesn't waver. She meets the stare and answers in a calm, even tone, "This is my home." That's the moment the air shifts. Neighbors pause behind their blinds, the street goes quieter than usual, and the lines of the conflict are drawn. The audience now knows, this isn't just a move-in. This is the start of a public test of dignity, respect, and belonging. The tension rises as the woman, who the neighbors quietly call Karen, refuses to accept that the new homeowner belongs there. She squares her shoulders, voice sharp, and insists that she knows everyone who lives in the community, and this woman is not one of them. The veteran doesn't raise her voice, but the firmness in her tone makes it clear she won't be pushed around. Still, the words sting, and the air around them grows heavy as more neighbors peek from windows and lean quietly on fences. Nobody steps in, but everyone is watching. It feels less like moving day and more like a stage where every glance is a silent judgment. Karen leans harder into her role as the self-proclaimed gatekeeper, throwing out lines about rules and standards, hinting that people like her are the ones who decide who belongs and who doesn't. The veteran continues to unload her boxes, refusing to let Karen's arrogance stop her, but each step to the front door feels like walking under a spotlight. The neighbor's silence makes the moment louder, and the veteran's calm is the only thing keeping the situation from breaking wide open. Then comes the turning point. Karen pulls out her phone. With sharp taps on the screen, she makes her threat real: she's calling the police. The words hang in the air like a sentence, and the neighborhood seems to hold its breath. The veteran doesn't flinch, doesn't argue, but inside she knows what this means. It's not just about a house anymore. It's about proving she has every right to stand there. And as the faint sound of sirens begins to carry through the warm air, the crowd of neighbors shifts uneasily, sensing that what started as a confrontation is about to turn into a full-blown showdown. The police cars roll onto the street, their lights flashing against the walls of the houses, and the whole neighborhood seems to freeze. Some people step outside, others press closer to their windows, waiting to see what happens next. Karen wastes no time, she marches straight to the officers, pointing toward the veteran like she's already guilty of something. Her words spill out fast: "This woman doesn't belong here, she's trespassing, she's moving into a house that isn't hers." The officers listen, their faces steady, giving nothing away. When they finally turn to the veteran, she doesn't shrink back. She steps forward with calm steps, her voice clear, explaining that she bought the house, closed on it last week, and has the keys and belongings to prove it. Karen scoffs loudly, cutting her off, shouting that words aren't enough, that she can't prove anything. The street grows tense, the silence almost painful as everyone waits to see what happens. Then the veteran reaches into her wallet, her movements slow and steady. She pulls out her military ID, holding it between her fingers so the sunlight catches on it. She doesn't rush, she lets the weight of the moment hang before handing it over. The officers look it over, reading her name, her rank, her years of service. One of them nods, saying firmly that it's valid and matches everything she's claimed. That single statement flips the entire scene. Karen's face goes pale, her mouth opens but no words come out. A few neighbors whisper, a teenager even laughs quietly, and the control Karen thought she had slips through her hands. The veteran stands tall, not boasting, not raising her voice, but letting the truth of who she is speak louder than anything Karen had thrown at her. The weight of the moment doesn't fade when the officers hand the ID back. Instead, it shifts onto Karen, whose confidence cracks as the neighborhood watches her stumble for words. She tries to cling to her authority, insisting that she's only protecting the community, that there are standards to be kept. But the more she talks, the thinner her excuses sound. The veteran doesn't yell, doesn't try to humiliate her. She speaks plainly, pointing out the truth everyone can see, that Karen never asked for proof when others moved in, that she jumped to call the police before she even tried to learn who her new neighbor was. That quiet honesty makes the neighbors stir. A young couple speaks up, sharing that Karen once made their move-in difficult too. Another man, usually silent, admits she has been unfair for years. Karen tries to fight back, but the support she expected isn't there anymore. Instead of backing her, people glance away or shake their heads. Even the teenager who recorded the whole thing blurts out that she owes the veteran an apology. For the first time, Karen looks small, standing there red-faced, clutching her purse while the power she once held slips from her grip. The neighborhood has seen her exposed, and no amount of rules or speeches can cover what just played out in the open. As the police leave and the crowd begins to drift back to their homes, the veteran stays steady in her driveway, holding on to the quiet victory she just earned. The house behind her feels different now, not just walls and a roof, but proof that she belongs here no matter what anyone says. A few neighbors break the silence, stepping forward to help carry boxes inside. One family brings food the next day, saying they don't want her to feel alone. Even the teenager who filmed the whole thing puts his phone away and offers to lift a heavy chair. These small acts show that the tide has turned, that not everyone is willing to follow Karen's lead anymore. Inside, as the veteran unpacks photos from her years of service, her squadron, her parents, her graduation from training, she places them carefully on the mantle, each picture a reminder of everything she's already fought for. She knows Karen will not change overnight, and there may be more battles ahead, but the spell has been broken. The neighbor saw the truth, and that truth can't be unseen. She whispers to herself that this is her home, and no one can take that from her. The lesson is clear: prejudice may hide behind rules and authority, but dignity and patience will always reveal it. Before the story closes, her voice carries one last thought to the audience: never let anyone else decide your worth. Stand firm, demand respect, and when you see wrong being done, speak up, because silence only protects the problem.